Here's Precalc 9-78. So it says, represent each system of equations below with matrices. Solve the system in part C. So we don't have to solve any of them except for part C. Okay, and we're going to have to use a calculator for that because we don't know how to, we don't know how to get inverse matrices for a 3 by 3. These ones we could have solved without a calculator, but it didn't ask us to. So basically, to represent the system of equations with matrices, it means just make a matrix out of it. So all you do is you take the coefficients of the variables. See, like there's the coefficient of p is 1 and the coefficient of q is 2. So there's my 1 and my 2. And then this one's coefficient of p is 3 and the coefficient of q is 4. See? Oh, that's cute. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have to multiply those by PQ and then set it equal to the column vector 7, 11. So why does that work? If you remember when we multiply, we go to get, this is row 1, column 1. So I multiply row 1 by column 1. So 1 times P is P. Get it? 1 times P is P. And 2 times Q is 2Q, and that equals 7. So I don't know if that's an aha moment for you. Here's this number is row 2, column 2. So when I multiply on my row matrix, row 2, oh sorry, it's row 2, column 1. There's only one column. When I multiply this times this, I should get this. And watch, 3 times P, isn't that 3P? And 4 times Q, isn't that 4Q equals 11? So that's how that works. You just learned this, I think, last week. So the next ones, I'm just going to go super fast through them. I just grabbed the 4, the -5, the -3, and the 4. I'm grabbing the coefficients off of my system of equations, multiplying it by the variables, m and n, and set it equal to this column vector. So letter C is the one that we're supposed to solve. So I got my coefficients, put them in a 3 by 3. I have x, y's, and z's, and then there's this. So I'm going to show you very slowly again how to do this using a calculator. So what you want to do is you want to get the variables alone. So I want to multiply the left and right side. I just named this column, I named it A. I want to multiply by A inverse on both sides. If I multiply A inverse by A, they will cancel out and they will leave me x, y, z. Now I'm going to multiply the right-hand side by A inverse. Okay, now I'm not writing A inverse because it's, or inverse matrix A because it's probably some horrible looking thing with decimals. But here's how I get my matrix calculator. I'm just going to use my phone. Usually I use my computer. I say Desmos matrix calculator. It didn't hear me. I said Desmos matrix calculator. Desmos matrix calculator. There we go. I don't know how else to get it because it's beta. It's beta, which means when I go on the regular Desmos site, it doesn't show up for me. So, but it works great. So what do I want to do? I need to get matrix A input into my calculator. So I'm going to push new matrix, and then it asks me, well, what are the dimensions? So it's a 3 by 3. It's a 3 by 3. And then I want to, it's going to name it A. And then I'm just going to type in my numbers. I got a 4. This is the part where I mess up. Negative. Up, see? I need a new set of eyes. -1. You guys probably already have this all done by now. 1, 2, I can do 2, 2, 3, 5. Hey, if I had a little stylus, that would work. -2, 6. Sorry, that had to take forever. So that's my matrix A. Okay, so, and I found out that this one down here, I can like enter it. There it is. Okay, so now what am I trying to do? I want to multiply the inverse of A by this column matrix. So I got to put the column matrix in. So that's okay. I'm going to go new matrix. The column matrix is, remember, it goes rows first and then columns. So the rows are 3 and the columns are only 1. 1. Add. Type it in. For you guys, this is probably very fast. For me, not so much. The typing part is the part that kills me. There we go. Okay, so now I have the calculator is just keeping track of my stuff. I've got 2 matrices. Now I can do whatever I want with my 2 matrices. I would like to multiply the inverse of A times B. So let's see how I can do that. I think, can I just go like this? A inverse? No. Uh-oh. Let me make sure I got this right. My 4 looks really high to me. Huh. I hope that's okay. So what I want is A inverse. So A, there we go. A inverse times, I need better glasses or something, times B. Okay, it's not working because something's wrong with my 4. There we go. Okay, so I don't know what I pushed. You probably know what I pushed, but I think because I pushed that or something. Anyway, that didn't have to be as hard as I made it. Anyway, you put your 2 matrices in, and then you just tell the calculator what you want it to do. I multiplied A inverse by B, and I got my matrix. So it's -1, -1, 3, 2. -1, 3, 2. Okay, so that's the answer. And then I'm going to, so that means that x equals -1, y equals 3, and z equals 2. And then for letter D, oh yeah, I didn't write that very nicely, did I? Okay, so for letter D, I want it to go W, X, Y, Z. So my coefficient of W was 7, -3. There's no Y, so I had to put a 0. Z. I'm going to actually show you the answer key because of how messy this looks. Here's the answer key. So if you can see that. So see how they're just grabbing the coefficients. So W, this is W, this is X, this is Y, and this is Z. So you'll notice once in a while there's like this doesn't have a Y in it, so you just put a 0 in for the Y in the Y row. Does that make any, hopefully that makes some sense to you? Like this one down here, there's no W, so I got a 0, and then I got 1 for X. There's no Y, so I put a 0, and then -3 for Z. Okay, that was the long explanation of 9-7-8.